A race against time. Rescue workers in Turkey search frantically for survivors of a massive earthquake that has taken thousands of lives. New questions tonight about a possible link between breast cancer and a common virus. And Eye on America. The government gets ready for the Y2K Dash for Cash.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm Bob Schieffer. There is utter devastation in western Turkey tonight after one of the most powerful earthquakes anywhere in the past 20 years. Magnitude possibly as high as 7.8 on the Richter scale. A frenzied digging for buried survivors goes on at this hour. The quake centered east of Istanbul, and it struck before dawn as most people were sleeping. More than 2,000 are dead, at least. Many thousands are missing. CBS News correspondent Alan Pizzi is on the scene.
Within minutes of the massive shock, survivors were desperately scrambling to save those trapped. Entire buildings were reduced to pancake slabs of concrete, with little more than sheer willpower to move them. From one building, a sign of life, and a glass of water to keep it going. And what seemed to be miracles, this woman appeared dead. Then she blinked. A teenage girl managed to make herself small enough not to be crushed and was saved. So many more were not. When dawn broke, the massive extent of the quake became evident. In the town of Golchuk, entire neighborhoods were destroyed. The mayor claimed as many as 500 buildings have collapsed and feared as many as 10,000 dead and missing. Bulldozers worked non-stop, but there were simply not enough to do the job. Doctors were overwhelmed. Streets became emergency clinics. And throughout the horror of the day, more miracles. This man, unable to move, waited to be rescued. Dusty but alive, a tiny baby was reunited with its father. Among the lucky ones was U.S. Energy Secretary Bill Richardson.
It was a terrifying feeling, 45 seconds, dramatic shaking, but we feel for the people of Turkey. There's a huge tragedy here.
American tourists agreed with that.
And we were scared, very scared, but we didn't know what to do or where to go, so we just hung on to each other and it was over with.
And some knew nothing at all. This baby was born an hour and a half before the quake struck. Her family fled the hospital with her. And this is the scene in Istanbul tonight. In every available open park and open space, tens of thousands of people are camping out. They fled here after the big quake, and over the course of the day, there have been at least 6 aftershocks. What they fear is another big one tonight. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Istanbul.
President Clinton offered American aid to Turkey, who is a NATO ally, of course, and ordered the U.S. military in Europe to help any way that it can. Also rushing to the disaster scene to help find survivors, an elite Virginia-based 70-member search and rescue team with 5 specially trained dogs. In earthquake-prone California, scientists are now using ground sensors and satellites in hope that someday they'll be able to predict where and when major earthquakes may strike next. CBS News correspondent Sandra Hughes has that part of the story.
The images strike fear into anyone who lives near an earthquake fault zone. But what's even more terrifying is that scientists don't know when the next big one will hit.
We still don't know how to predict earthquakes, and most of the recent theories seem to indicate that it may be a long time or perhaps never.
But scientists in Southern California, leading the way in earthquake study, are closer to predicting where the next major quake will strike. Using global satellites that read information from some 600 ground sensors, it's possible to gauge even the smallest shifts in the earth, detecting where pressure builds along a fault line, eventually setting off an earthquake.
So if we know the where, but we don't know the when, what does that do for us?
Well, it allows us to focus our long-term preparedness. If you live with earthquakes, you've got to be ready for them at any instance.
And right now, getting ready means making stronger buildings. Kobe, Japan, where a devastating 7.2 quake hit in 1995, now has some of the strictest building codes in the world. So does Los Angeles, where they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to retrofit buildings. A previously unknown fault line was discovered recently that runs right under Dodger Stadium through to downtown and could produce a quake almost as strong as the one in Turkey. City Hall is literally being raised up and placed on rubber rollers.
And if you put your hands on a slinky and you could slide the bottom of the slinky out in any direction, this will what the ground motion can do underneath this building.
And then the building stays put.
The building does not move vertically.
And in about 5 years, Southern California will test an alarm system. It would sound when an earthquake hits, giving residents in the path of the shock waves about a minute's notice to take cover. It may not be much, but it could be enough to save some lives. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In Colorado today, school officials confirm that the first day of classes at Columbine High since the April shooting spree included a chilling reminder of hate. 3 swastikas were found yesterday, scrawled in bathrooms and scratched into the school's outside brickwork. The school is investigating. President Clinton launched a new effort against school violence today. The strategy includes an ad campaign aimed at parents. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts now with that report. John?
Bob, saying that today's children are exposed to a volume and intensity of violence not seen by previous generations, a coalition of groups led by the president rolled out a new advertising campaign today, one aimed at turning back the tide of violence in today's schools.
It was 1 against, I don't know, probably 10.
The new PSAs, which encourage parents to talk to their children about violence, will be aired in tomorrow night's Family Hour by every major broadcast and cable network. The campaign's creators call it an unprecedented acknowledgement of how serious the problem has become.
The adult world has to rethink how we include and embrace our children if we're going to make a difference.
But in a day of candor over what is and isn't possible, the president said no one program or piece of legislation can solve the problem, even as he called on House Republicans to pass new gun control laws.
Will they stop every act of violence? No. Will they prevent every madman? No. If we use that kind of excuse, we would all stay in bed every day. We would never get out of bed.
So Mr. Clinton also announced more funding to attack the problem before it begins, giving another $15 million to community policing programs like this one in Miami-Dade County.
If we eliminate drugs, we eliminate the majority of our crimes.
Since police started talking to young people in Carroll City about everything from drugs to conflict resolution, they claim juvenile crime there has gone down 65%.
We want to make sure that our community remains safe and free from crime.
In the wake of Columbine and more recent shootings, the White House has been under tremendous pressure to come up with something concrete. Today's event gives the president a chance to say that he's doing more than just talking about it. Bob?
Thank you very much, John. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, breast cancer. What new research has found about a possible cause? The search for an escaped convict whose case was the subject of a Hollywood movie, and the impact of Y2K at the ATM.
To be the best takes strength, speed, endurance. Now the best way to cure athlete's foot has it all. New Lamisil AT. Strength. Full prescription strength to stop the itching and burning. Speed. These take 4 weeks of treatment to kill the fungus. Only Lamisil AT cures athlete's foot with just 1 week's use. Endurance. A study showed most users were still athlete's foot free 3 whole months later. Get it all in new Lamisil AT. The best way to cure athlete's foot.
Steering so precise. We're still trying to find a word more precise than precise. Intrigue. With state-of-the-art steering and suspension systems. Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Start to command performance. Start something.
Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
There is new research tonight that suggests one possible factor in breast cancer may involve a link to a common virus. Well, we have a report from Elizabeth Callahan.
It's so common, at least 90% of the world's population has been infected with the Epstein-Barr virus. Generally harmless, it most often leads to mononucleosis. But now researchers have determined the Epstein-Barr virus may also be linked to breast cancer. In a study published in tomorrow's Journal of the National Cancer Institute, in 100 breast cancer tissue samples, the Epstein-Barr virus was found in 51 cases in the most aggressive tumors.
Potentially, a virus might turn on some of the reproductive machinery of a cell so that the cell grows in an unregulated or uncontrolled fashion.
The study did not determine that Epstein-Barr virus can cause breast cancer, and Dr. Clifford Hudis believes that connection is far off.
There's got to be more to the story. If Epstein-Barr virus has any role in breast cancer, it may be as one of many cofactors.
On the whole, doctors say the discovery raises more questions than provides answers. The most important one being, could some breast cancers be caused by a virus? And if so, could the disease one day be prevented by vaccine?
This is the first time I think there's such a strong link.
Dr. Robert Gary's research has led him to a virus that causes breast cancer 95% of the time in mice. In a small number of human samples, the rate was almost as high. Gary believes locating cancer-causing viruses is the next frontier in tackling the disease.
For many cancers, certainly targeting the virus is the next wave of not only detection, but perhaps prevention and therapy too.
For now, though, until a stronger link can be made between breast cancer and any virus, doctors believe the best tools remain early detection and good treatment. Elizabeth Callahan, CBS News, New York.
Results are in tonight from the largest study yet on the drug raloxifene. It is a synthetic estrogen to help prevent bone-thinning diseases in older women. The study finds that women who took raloxifene cut their risk of spinal fractures up to 50%. On the CBS Market Watch, the government reports consumer prices rose a modest 0.3% in July. That means inflation this year is running 2.4%. That's up from 1.6% last year. Here is one reason: gasoline prices are up 30 cents this year to a nationwide average of $1.24 a gallon. On Wall Street today, stock prices closed higher. The Dow was up 70 points, the Nasdaq up 25. Well, next on the CBS Evening News, a surprise ally turns up to support the U.S. weapons lab scientist who denies any role in giving nuclear secrets to China.
My business runs on long hours and a leave. I can't settle for those pain relievers that quit too soon. Just 2 Aleve are strong enough to work all day. I used to need 8 Tylenol to do that. There's a tool for every job. For tough pain, it's Aleve.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Do you use the same corn pads your grandmother used? Well, there's a breakthrough. Band-Aid brand corn relief cushions. It covers the whole corn, relieving the awful, painful pressure. Plus, it's more comfortable than your old pad, and it stays in place better. After all, it's from Band-Aid brand.
Band-Aid brand cushions for feet. A breakthrough in corn pain relief.
For blister prevention, calluses, and bunions, try the line of Band-Aid brand cushions for feet.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Now our first denture cleanser keeps dentures feeling clean all day. New Fixodent with ProGuard, a breakthrough tablet and bath system. First, place your dentures into the bath and release the power of ProGuard to get them 4 times cleaner. Then you lift the inner basket to help seal in the clean. with the ProGuard barrier, protecting against plaque and odor-causing bacteria from morning till night. Fixodent with ProGuard. Start cleaner, stay cleaner.
On the CBS Weather Watch, out in the Pacific, Hurricane Dora threatens Johnson Island later tonight, where U.S. chemical weapons are sent to be incinerated. The Army says that 325 tons of chemical agents were secured in storm-proof bunkers underground before all 1,100 military and civilian workers were evacuated. A U.S. weapons lab scientist who says he was singled out for no good reason and linked to the theft of nuclear secrets by China got some support today for his claim, and it came from a surprising source. Cheryl Atkinson has our report.
New doubts are being cast on the government's case against Wen-Ho Lee, the only person accused in the spy scandal at the nation's nuclear weapons labs. A former top investigator in the case claims there's no proof that Lee gave away nuclear secrets while working as a scientist at Los Alamos. Robert Vroman, who headed counterintelligence at the lab, told the Washington Post there's not a shred of evidence that Lee passed secrets to China, and that race was a major factor in naming Lee the prime suspect. In an exclusive interview with 60 Minutes' Mike Wallace, Lee also claimed investigators unfairly targeted him because of his heritage.
I am the only one Oriental or Chinese people working on the top secret for the last 18 years.
Henry Tang, head of an advocacy group for Chinese Americans, recently sent a letter to the Justice Department saying Dr. Lee and the nation deserve a case made on the merits of a thorough and professional investigation, not a racist witch hunt.
Scientists like Dr. Lee are really our rocket scientists of this country and are working at the leading edge of American technology and helping to maintain America's scientific superiority.
Sources are disputing whether or not Lee will ever be charged with any crime. Today, the White House and the Energy Department would only say the investigation is being conducted appropriately. But the issue of race is clearly making an already difficult spy case even more sensitive. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
As we reported last night, the Public Defender's Agency in Oklahoma said it did not have the money to defend Terry Nichols against state murder charges in the Oklahoma City bombing trial. Well, today the judge released the agency from the case and said private attorneys should be hired for Nichols but be paid for by the state court fund. When we come back, an escaped murderer on the loose who may be looking for buried loot.
Staples presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's our salute to leaders on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies for your school, plus a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, visit a Staples near you. Register at www.staples.com or send your entry to Staples Coach of the Week. Watch NFL Today Sundays on CBS for winners.
Got heartburn caused by acid reflux? Only Gaviscon forms a soothing protective barrier that keeps acid down. Pepcid AC and Zantac 75 can't do that. Gaviscon, it helps keep acid down where it belongs.
These days, everybody wants whiter teeth.
Including me, and I wear dentures.
New Polident Whitening Mouthwash not only freshens your breath, it whitens dentures in just 2 weeks. New Polident Whitening Mouthwash.
It's giving denture wearers a lot to smile about.
If it's real chicken your dog wants, it's Prime you want. Because high-quality chicken is the primary ingredient in Pedigree Prime. Dry dog food has finally reached its prime.
Allergies knocking you flat? Try non-drowsy Allegra. Only Allegra has fexofenadine. For people 12 and over, ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information. Side effects are low and may include drowsiness, cold or flu, nausea, or menstrual pain. Allegra, so you can enjoy the world around you.
Federal agents said today they have broken one of America's biggest drug trafficking rings, which has reportedly smuggled tons of cocaine and marijuana across the Mexican border. The agents say that they carried out raids in 14 U.S. cities and arrested 100 people, including the alleged ringleaders. All 36,000 inmates remaining in Pennsylvania state prisons are locked in their cells tonight after 2 more convicts escaped yesterday. And police are still trying to find the notorious multiple murderer who broke out of a maximum security prison over 2 weeks ago. We have more details now from Jacqueline Adams.
Most of the sightings have been within the 3-state, 3-county area.
The massive manhunt has so far been futile. For 15 days, Pennsylvania State Police have followed scores of leads, last night just over the Delaware border. But dangerous escaped convict Norman Johnston remains at large.
They searched all around my house, and I was afraid. I live alone, and I was really afraid.
In 1980, Johnston was convicted of murdering 4 teenage associates, the so-called Kitty Gang, to cover up his family's multi-million-dollar vehicle burglary ring. In the rural neighborhood where Johnston's family members still live, residents are nervous with good reason.
Take extra precautions, making sure my house is locked a little more thoroughly than perhaps I normally would.
Johnston's prison break was carefully planned.
He had fashioned a dummy using some hair and some other things he was able to gather and covered it up pretty well.
The network crime show, America's Most Wanted, chronicled the daring escape.
It's obvious he received some assistance, was able to saw through a bar, and was able to get out skinny under a barbed wire, and then we believe stole a truck once he was able to cut a fence and get out.
This is just the latest chapter in a long-running drama which inspired the film At Close Range.
Is that a real gun?
Johnston's gang has a history of taunting police, deliberately throwing them off the scent with misinformation. And the drought hasn't helped. Without moisture in the ground, police say their dogs have a hard time following any smells. 4 days after he escaped from prison, Johnston was here in Nottingham County Park. Rangers spotted him at this payphone, trying to contact a relative. Yet even when they had him in their sights, Johnston still managed to get away. Locals think he may have hidden millions of dollars somewhere in this park.
I really feel he has money around here, and he wants to get his money.
That's why, despite hundreds of police, rumor has it that Johnston may still be close by. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Nottingham, Pennsylvania.
And stay with us now for Eye on America. Tonight we're going to show you how financial institutions are preparing for any Y2 chaos.
Do you want to stop by Dave's after the movie?
Would you put your life on the line to change a flat? Each year, nearly 3,000 people die in roadside accidents. It's better to risk your rim than risk your life. Drive slowly to a safer area. Never attempt repairs on a narrow shoulder.
I'm okay.
For more safety tips, get this free book from Shell. Count on Shell.
Right now, LensCrafters is having an end-of-summer sun sale. You can get a complete pair of prescription sunglasses for only $99 in your choice of hundreds of the latest styles. The end-of-summer sun sale. On now at LensCrafters. Hurry, sale ends soon.
Please release me. They're here, filled with aroma and flavor, only they're waiting to be released by you. Introducing Folgers new whole bean coffee. Every time you grind these beans, you release something sensational, a deeper, richer aroma. This is Arabica bean perfection in a whole different Folgers, the whole bean Folgers. New Folgers premium whole bean coffees. They're waiting.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from one a day. Not just herbs. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like memory. Have you seen my keys? Where are the keys? 83. And energy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Even tension and mood. Help your body help itself with one-a-day specialized blends. They're just what you need to feel your best.
Wedding season is here, and isn't it nice to know there's one thing that will never let you down? Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. You may now protect the deck. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
In tonight's Eye on America, planning for the arrival of the year 2000. For many, it means spending a lot of money New Year's Eve, but for others, it means hoarding a lot of money. So as Jim Stewart tells us tonight, the government is printing a lot of money in anticipation of Y2K phobia.
20, 40, 60.
If you're one of those people planning to squirrel away a lot of cash for Y2K Day,
300.
then you're partly to blame for this. The U.S. Treasury has begun printing an extra $50 billion for Y2K emergencies.
40, 55, 56.
Thank you. And it's now being cut, counted, and bundled for delivery to every branch bank in America, plus several secret storage sites in the event even more is needed. Alarmed by doomsday books urging everyone to sock away thousands in cash and maybe even bury it in the backyard, the Federal Reserve and banks are planning for the worst. Every armored car company in America was booked months ago for New Year's weekend cash deliveries. Banks have canceled holiday vacations, extra guards have been laid on, and already there are signs of some panic withdrawals.
I had one financial institution tell me that a little old lady came in, withdrew $90,000, closing her account out, and she was going to keep it at home with her.
Everybody, here you are. And it's 10, 20.
And it's not just the elderly, says former Texas Banking Commissioner Catherine Galleri.
I was told that a group of companies was going to pull 1 month's worth of cash out of their bank, and I said, where are you going to put that, and why are you going to do that?
The problem isn't computers. Banks worked the bugs out of those a long time ago. The problem now, say bankers, is people. Despite reassurances, some people believe that come the millennium, everything, including their bank account, will simply shut down. And what bankers really fear is that for some reason, any reason, an ATM machine somewhere might not work on Saturday, New Year's Day, and start a panic run on the banks reminiscent of the Great Depression, hence the extra cash. Alexander Boyle is vice chairman of Chevy Chase Bank in Maryland.
If the unthinkable did happen and suddenly you had a line of people snaking out the front door of this bank and they all wanted $1,000 or $5,000 in cash, I mean, what would you do?
We would have extra delivery. We have our armored car service prepared to deliver additional amounts of cash to each branch if necessary.
But with that much money in the system come other problems.
We've been working with our local police forces. Every branch has been in touch with their local police force.
The FBI and banks are already briefing senior citizens, especially on the danger of being robbed at year's end.
The year 2000 is not a holiday for criminals, and I'm concerned about personal security for the citizens of this state.
And that's not to mention the pain in the neck it will be next January to count and return that $50 billion to the Federal Reserve. All 11,879,699 pounds of it. In Washington, this is Jim Stewart for Eye on America.
And that's the news. Here's Bob Simon now with a look at what's coming up later tonight on 60 Minutes 2.
Why would this teenager go on a shooting spree in his school? There's only one way to know. Ask him. So we did. And Dan Rather investigates what some call a serious flaw in one of America's most popular cars.
60 Minutes 2 tonight at 9, 8 Central Time, right here on CBS. For Dan Rather, this is Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Set for life. That's what IBM workers thought they were till their pensions got eliminated. And they're not alone. Tomorrow, why some of America's richest companies are doing away with pensions. Plus, car insurance repair practices exposed. What you don't know about what's going into your car. On the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Find out how to get a raise tomorrow on This Morning. Experience CBS News.